All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video, a review of JT O'Sullivan's quarterback school. Week 5 edition is forthcoming, but first we need to tell you that the Krug Show is partnered with Underdog Fantasy this football season. Underdog Fantasy gives fans a way to play alongside your favorite football team all season long. You can check out their weekly pick 'em players, where you pick between 2 to 5 players, select whether they'll go higher or lower on their game stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. It's a fantasy game, but you can win real money. Now, you can enter the same as me, or you can make your own picks. Sign up using the link in the description and use that promo code KRUG, KRUEG, and they'll match you up to $100. Underdog Fantasy is partnered with the Krug Show. All right. Let's talk a little bit about JT O'Sullivan's quarterback school. It's my new favorite show, guys. I love this show. It's on YouTube. Former Niner quarterback. If you remember JT O'Sullivan, went to UC Davis, played during the Mike Martz era. Martz never really cared much for pass protection, so O'Sullivan didn't necessarily do all that well with the Niners. But he's cerebral. He's bright. He seems somewhat independent, and I really like the way he breaks down offensive film, route combinations, what he sees from the quarterback, how a quarterback's going through his progressions. He notices the tiny little things that many, many people gloss over. And so I think it's definitely worth talking about and at least reviewing each week. And he's loving Brock Purdy right now. Who isn't? If you don't love Brock Purdy right now, you don't know what you're watching. Let's be honest about this. Brock Purdy and the Niners are 5-0, and Brock Purdy is an MVP candidate, legit MVP candidate. He went 17 of 24 for 232 yards and 4 touchdowns, and once again, no picks. Hasn't thrown a pick all year. That's what he did Sunday night against the Dallas Cowboys, the number 1 defense in the NFL. Number 1. Cowboys rolled in, allowing 10 points a game on average. Niners put up 42 on a defense that was allowing 10. So, once again, if you don't like Brock Purdy at this point, I don't know what you're watching. He's first in the NFL in QBR, 83.5. He's second in yards per attempt. He's second in completion percentage. He's got 9 touchdowns. He's got no picks. He's thrown for 1,200 yards. You can sit there and say, well, he's got Kyle. And he does. And you can say he's got great weapons, and he does. But it's still a lot about Brock Purdy. I mean, let's talk about Patrick Mahomes. He's got Andy Reid. So what? He's got had Tyreek Hill. Now he's got Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco. Whole slew of weapons. Nobody says anything about that. Jalen Hurts has Sirianni, pretty good offensive coach. He's got Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa. He's got Mike McDaniel, borderline genius, offensive play caller, as innovative as any offensive play caller in the game today. And he's got Jalen Waddle, burner, Tyreek Hill, burner. They just added another weapon in Chase Claypool. They got a ton of speed in the backfield. Raheem Mostert, Devin A-Chain, the former A&M Aggie big play guys, now their big play guy, one of the fastest players in the entire league. So, it's just the way it is. All of the top offenses in pro football, you're going to find good offensive play callers and great weapons. So don't tell me about Kyle Shanahan. I don't want to hear about Debo and Ayuk and CMC. All these quarterbacks have good weapons. All right, let's go through, though, the JT O'Sullivan thing, because, the one thing about O'Sullivan's deal is that he really does highlight a lot of the traits that Brock possesses that people don't talk about. Brock Purdy is playing with tremendous confidence. Tremendous confidence. He's got poise. He's accurate. He's throwing consistently with anticipation. And then you combine those attributes with he's got great weapons, and you combine those attributes with Kyle Shanahan can scheme it up as well as anybody in the game right now, and you have a 49er offense that's scoring close to 35 a game, and you have an undefeated team and a Super Bowl favorite and a team that looks unstoppable right now. one of the things that JT O'Sullivan pointed out is that the Niners used in this last game against Dallas that Dolphins fast out motion, and you could just see the space that it created on a slant route to Ayuk. I mean, Ayuk is the Niners. You could argue he's the Niners' number one receiver, and you could argue that the slant, the short to intermediate slant, is like a bread and butter call, and yet early in the game Sunday night, Purdy drops back to pass, plants his feet, looks right at Ayuk, and he's wide freaking open. There's nobody within 5 yards of him. And you're sitting there watching that, and I'm watching it on the binoculars in the press box, and I'm going, how does that happen? How does the Niners' number one receiver in the biggest game of the year, in a pattern that is literally one of the bread and butter patterns inside this offense, in that short and intermediate area where you know Brock loves to operate, how does Ayuk get so open that there's almost no other defender within 5 yards? And if you go back and watch JT O'Sullivan break it down, it's that use of the Dolphins, fast out motion where you've got somebody sprinting to the sideline at the snap, and it just creates so much, so much uneasiness and so much stress on the defense that guys, I don't want to say they panic, but they hesitate. And suddenly that hesitation, when Ayuk sits in that soft spot in the zone, he's wide open, wide open. So that was the first play he broke down. And then just the use of that Dolphins fast out motion, clearly created some stress in the Cowboy defense and some defenders who paused. And suddenly Ayuk is sitting there, and it is the easiest pitch and catch you are ever going to see. And it's all created by that Dolphins fast out motion, which stressed out the defense and made the defenders pause and made them hesitate. And then all of a sudden, Ayuk's right there in the middle of a zone where there's 5 guys all around him, but they're all 5 yards away, or 5 guys in, defenders in the area, but they're all 5 to 10 yards away. Then he kind of points out in the next play how, Brock, due to his mobility, can extend plays and create down the field. And we were talking, and he was talking about the touchdown to Kittle. And basically, Brock had pressure off the defensive left side, so his right side against McKivitz. And he just kind of, keeps his eyes posted down the field, doesn't put his eyes on the rush, moves from, his drop to the right side, but always kept his eyes on Kittle. Kittle, was on the other side of the formation, came all the way across, and Brock knew there was no defender there, and he just lobbed it out there. Perfect, hit him in stride. Just a beautiful pass, and it showed a lot of things. It showed Brock's knowledge of the coverage, his ability to use his feet to extend the play, and then how much stress it puts on a defense when you have a quarterback who's keeping his eyes, posted down the field, not staring at the rush, moving subtly within the pocket. In this situation, he was actually leaving the pocket a little bit, moving to his right-hand side. He wasn't sprinting out. Even though there was an avenue for him to run, he really wasn't moving to run. You could see he was moving to pass. He knew he had Kittle on the backside, and he just waited for Kittle to free up from the defender and just lobbed it out there, led him perfectly to an open void in the back corner of the end zone. Touchdown 49ers, 7-0. I mean, just beautiful. Just a beautiful play. Then there was another play where, it's a naked boot, a play action, naked boot. Brock slides out. He's got juice in the flat. It's on 3rd and short. And, it just kind of showed the awareness of Juice to kind of move on the motion across the formation, and then, from right to left, and then to kind of slide across the formation, and Brock on the naked boot, just, little pop pass out to Juice on 3rd and short. And it's one of those now this is another one where Brock just he makes it look easier than it is. The fact of the matter is Brock has got great balance, and he can get the ball out quick. His mechanics are sound. His footwork is sound. So when he's got when there's a little pressure in his face, and he's got a little pop pass on 3rd and short. He can put it out there, and he makes it look easy because he hits Juice in the hands. But you know what? We just watched Jimmy Garoppolo last night against, in against Green Bay, try to find Michael Mayer in the flat, and it's like Mayer's out there. He's got nothing but green grass ahead of him, and Jimmy throws it low, and Mayer's got a dive, and he makes a great effort, but it's incomplete pass. And it just kind of shows that sometimes those short passes, those are the ones that Trey Lance struggled with this summer. Really struggled to put it on the hands. And that's how you get the run after the catch. But this is also how you can use the short passing game on 3rd and short because everything's sped up. So as long as your quarterback reads it right, as long as the receiver gets his head turned in time, as long as the quarterback puts it on his hands, it looks just real easy. Pitch and catch, like, just playing in the backyard. But it's a harder pass than it looks to complete because there is sometimes pressure in your face and you do have to throw it short and you're hitting a moving target and you're on the move and there's just a lot of elements there. Brock makes that play look easy. He got it out perfectly, hit Juice in the hands. 3rd and short becomes 1st and 10. There was another one where, I asked Shanahan about, how would you evaluate Brock in the job he did. He's like, he was great. The only one, then Shannon said, the only bad ball I remember him was the ball that he threw behind Ayuk. And, it's really an amazing play when you go look at it again. And it's like, yeah, it looks kind of like he sprayed it and like he was inaccurate. But when you look at where that ball was, or when that ball was thrown by Purdy and where Ayuk was in the pattern, Ayuk hadn't even put his foot in the ground to cut inside. And he put the ball right on Ayuk, but it was a little bit behind him. Why? Because, he threw it before he even broke. It was the ultimate anticipatory throw. And that is the one area when you're watching Purdy, you're like, wow, look at this guy. This guy throws with incredible anticipation. He's a second-year quarterback. And as JT O'Sullivan says, world-class anticipation. I mean, the guy makes impressive throws. And was that one a little bit behind Ayuk? Yeah, but he threw it so far before Ayuk was even turned. He threw it with such anticipation. He put it right there that, you know what? I guess you can grade it out and say he threw it behind him, but he threw it to an area. He didn't throw it to an open player who was waiting for the ball. He threw it to an area that the receiver is going to cut into. And just how decisive he is, what kind of feel he has, what kind of anticipation he has, his ability to improvise, it's all just off the charts. Then JT kind of ran back the reverse flea flicker to Kittle on the wheel route. And this is another area where it kind of shows another area where Brock is really, really good. The guy plays with a lot of courage. Took a big hit on that throw. But he had to give Kittle time to kind of free up. And, it's a double reverse. I mean, it was a very creative play call. But you saw Brock, not just hand it off, and then we saw the handoff again. I think it was handoff to McCaffrey, who handed it off to Debo, who flipped it back to Brock. But then Brock moves the launch point. So there's a lot going on here, and it takes a little bit of time. And you're doing it against one of the best defensive lines in the game, maybe the best. And what did he do? Just excellent anticipation, but great timing. And he just stuck it on Kittle's hands on the wheel route. He knew there was no defender there. He led him perfectly. But there, he knew this was the courageous part of Brock. He stood in there and took the hit. Now, if you're afraid of that hit, you throw that pass early, and you're hoping Kittle catches up to it. But he's a tight end on a wheel route off a double fake that had to run to the outside. That wheel route, he really sold kind of the out, and then it's a kind of an out and up wheel. So I mean, it's like he needed to buy time. And then he needed to stand in and take the hit. And he did both. And he did it with, precision. So to me, it's a combination of things. It's the creative route combinations, and then the great anticipation by Brock, the great anticipatory throws, and then also the lower half. I mean, his lower half mechanics and base are impressive. What we're talking about is a second-year quarterback, and he's throwing, as JT would say, with world-class anticipation, incredibly decisive, very poised, great feel, awesome lower body mechanics, a really sound base. Then you mix in these great weapons and the scheme and the play calls, and you're like, this is unfair. I mean, it's borderline unfair. And that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. It looks like it's unfair. But JT wasn't done there. Then he talked about the Debo, the pass from Purdy to Debo on the little angle route. I think it was basically a Debo in the backfield, isolated on the linebacker. This is from the 10-yard line. Niners going in to score, and the windows are tight in the goal, on the goal line, in the red zone, especially on the goal line. The windows are really, really tight, and it puts a premium on accuracy. And it was a great play call. Debo on the little Texas route against the linebacker. But the real greatness here is Purdy put it on his hands on the break point. Right as he turned, boom, ball's on his hands. And the accuracy there is incredible. And that's another thing. We talk about all these other elements, but at the end of the day, if you're not accurate in the red zone, you're going to have a hard time making a living in there. The windows they open too quickly and close too quickly. There's not enough room, not enough real estate. If you're not accurate, it burns you there. And this is where Purdy's incredible accuracy, he knew exactly where Debo was going to be. He stuck it on his hands. Debo, the linebacker, it wasn't like, it's a mismatch, Debo against the linebacker, but the linebacker's coverage was right there. It wasn't like it was terrible coverage. It wasn't like Debo lost the guy. No, the linebacker was draped all over him, but the ball was at the break point on Debo's hands. Can't stop it. Can't stop it. Then JT went into a 1st and 15 play. Then the Niners were using 22 personnel, and Purdy once again with excellent anticipation on what he describes as a glance route to Ayuk. And this is the one where if you saw it on Twitter from the end zone wide, you saw Ayuk, you saw Purdy layer it perfectly over Leighton Vander Esch, who's sitting there on the second level, got a nice deep drop, tried to get his hand on it. He's a big linebacker. We're talking about 6'4" linebacker. This is the play that Trey Lance could never make because he didn't know how to layer it over a linebacker. Everything either had to be like on a line, just a bullet. And that's a big part of playing quarterback. You have to be able to layer it over that second-level defender. You got to see that second-level defender or anticipate that he's going to be there. And then you have to have the accuracy and the touch to put it right over him. This might have been Purdy's best ball of the day. Incredible anticipation, awesome accuracy, amazing touch. I mean, I'm not go look at this one from any angle you want, but I would choose the sideline or the end zone wide, because the end zone wide really shows that Vander Esch got a great drop, and it wasn't like he didn't know where it was going. He knew where it was going. And it wasn't like he didn't time his jump the right way. He did time it right. He did everything right, and Purdy still connected to Ayuk. Just a total dime. Total dime. Just absolutely put it perfectly. Wasn't too high, wasn't too low, wasn't too hard, wasn't too in, wasn't too out. Excellent. Another great anticipatory throw, but this one was even better because it had accuracy and touch. Then JT went into the 3rd and 4 play from the 50, where Purdy found Ayuk on the corner route. And, this is another one. This is an absolute another dime. Excellent ball with accuracy, but this one showed the arm strength of Purdy, because this thing was absolutely a BB. He put this thing, it was a dime to Ayuk. And he got some run after the catch because the accuracy was right there. And it was really subtle pocket movement at the top of the drop by Purdy that created the timing perfectly. But, that's what I'm saying. It's the subtle pocket movements. And then this 3rd and 4 from the 50 to Ayuk on the corner route showed the velo, showed the accuracy and the subtle pocket movement, but the velocity on his ball. So all these people say, he's got a rag arm, little arm, small guys. Go watch this one. He had plenty of arm, and he put it on his hands. And because it was so accurate, it led to Ayuk getting loose for some yak yardage. Another dime. There was a 2nd and 14 play, and this was Purdy to Debo with the split safeties, as JT O'Sullivan refers to him, Tampa 2. It's an in route, and it was so precise that it was the precision on this was unbelievable. First of all, the route combination was really nice. And there's 4 defenders in the area. This is the one where Brock just throws it with total confidence. There's 4 defenders in the area, but he threw it with such anticipation that he threw the ball before Debo got into the void. And then when Debo catches it in the void, it was so precise that he never broke stride. So the route combo was a thing of beauty. And he goes with the dagger to Debo, and he gets yards after the catch. And Brock threw it with confidence. He threw it like they've been practicing it like all afternoon. And there's 4 defenders all around Debo, and he threw it with confidence because he threw it to a spot with anticipation, knowing he had Debo on the dagger route, and he was so perfectly thrown that he got yards after the catch. The precision of Brock Purdy was impressive on that one. And then he broke down the Purdy to Kittle on the touchdown on the fake corner. Kittle faked like he was going with the corner route. It looks like it's a power run to the left, and Kittle's going to run the corner route behind the power run, except it was a play action. And Brock throws the ball before Kittle even does his full nod like he's going to the corner. And he just threw it with such loft and such perfect timing. He didn't bullet it in there. He threw it soft because there was no defender on that side. Another excellent anticipatory throw by Purdy. And he threw Kittle open. Kittle was going to carry out a little fake to the corner, and the ball's coming off his fingertips before Kittle even fakes the shoulders to the corner route. But he threw it softly, so as Kittle turns around, it's laid out there for him perfectly, it's like dropping it on a pillow. And he's got the defense confused, and they're hesitating, and it really showed the vision of Brock Purdy. So at the end of the day, this turns into a rah-rah Brock video, and I hope you guys are not puking right now. But that's how good Brock's been. That's how good he's been. He's smart. He's decisive. He's poised. He's got feel. And then he's got the ability to throw with anticipation. He throws guys open. He's courageous to stand in against hits. And then you mix in the route combinations and the scheme of Kyle Shanahan with all these weapons that individually are threats in their own right. This is borderline unstoppable. And if people who think that suddenly there's going to be some magic potion and all of a sudden 3 weeks from now Brock Purdy's going to suck and the Niners aren't going to be scoring any points, think again. When I watch JT O'Sullivan's quarterback school breakdown, it shows the real strengths of Purdy, and it also shows the creative scheme of Kyle and the gravity of these weapons. Ayuk, Kittle, Debo, CMC, every single one of these guys could be a number 1 weapon on any team they're on, and they're all on the same team. So, incredible video. JT O'Sullivan does a great job. I would pay the money and join his Patreon deal and get all of his stuff. I know for sure for me, I'm not going to miss quarterback school, whatever he puts out there on YouTube. I think it's phenomenal. He's a very bright guy, but he speaks in very easy to understand terms. He lays it out there. It's concise. It's quality. I can't recommend anything, any kind of football breakdown more highly. Phenomenal video. All right, thanks to Underdog Fantasy for being a sponsor of the Krug Show. Use that promo code Krug, and they'll match you up to $100. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show as well. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. Get the brisket chili. It's all great. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them that Krug sent you. And thanks to all you guys for supporting the Krug Show. 25,000 subs on the Krug Show. Thanks to you guys. Appreciate you. Catch you next time.